I just realised I should take off my bag, and now I realise that my presentation is actually not here, so I apologise to Fern about that and to all of you. So I'm speaking on behalf of the academic community towards sharing. I'm a designer who hasn't studied the design of things. Rather, I studied the designs of systems around sharing. Primarily, I'm interested in the relationships between people who are sharing, people and the things that are sharing, and people and the system of sharing, how things are being shared. I'd like to personally thank Kate from My Sister's Wardrobe, who was a big inspiration in the work that I've done to date. So conventional models of sharing are often known as things like leasing, pooling, renting, and then also things like borrowing sugar from our neighbours. But as we can see today, there are many new models of sharing, and many models of sharing which have moved beyond our traditional thoughts of what sharing is. From my work, I've sort of seen that there's two forms of sharing, that there's commercial and non-commercial sharing, and that, as Kate mentioned earlier, that sharing is a system of exchange, but not necessarily an exchange system that we're currently used to in terms of money, but in terms of social relationships, social trust, and of things. So sharing can be a community experience, as we've heard tonight, and sharing also has environmental and economic benefits, and it exists both within the formal and the informal economy. So the examples that I have up here are things like FreeCycle, which shares products from end of use. So when people no longer want something, they list it on FreeCycle and someone else who wants it gets use of the good. There's things like community gardening that we've heard about today, and all of the resources and the time and the shared place that go into that. And then there's what I call design sharing. This is still within what I call the informal and non-commercial economy. And there's two examples here which I've put up, which is like carpooling. So it's a website that basically facilitates carpooling between people that live in a local area. You just plug in where you live, and anyone else that's participated in the system, you're linked with. And there's many Facebook applications and things like this of carpooling coming up. There's also car sharing, which is probably the most famous model of new sharing, which is people who share the use of one particular car. I think you may all be familiar with it. Neighbourhood Borrow, which is underneath that, is a more designed version allowing people who live within a close vicinity to borrow things from each other. So it was designed for a New York apartment building or a series of New York apartment buildings, but it also has applications in neighbourhoods. If you have a DVD, then the odds are that there's someone who may want to watch it around you. You could drive to the DVD shop or catch public transport or bike, or you could see if someone is willing to lend a DVD that lives around you. Sharing can also exist in the commercial environment. As we sort of know, there's not many people that are actually fans of leasing and renting things. Oh, dearie me, I'm way behind. But here are things like Bag, Borrow and Steal, which is a site that facilitates the sharing of designer bags. There's also things like delivery of organic goods, which is bulk buying, and also the shared delivery of those goods. And this is sustainable because more people are using the same resources. Quick Flicks is another version. Finally, sharing from what you own is going from what you own to what we use, and putting the emphasis back on the use and the function of products. Elements that we teach students about sharing are that there's different types of sharing communities, those that know each other well and those that don't, event and non-event based sharing, into an idea of social barter, co-created value, that means we sort of determine the value rather than price setting value, and what we are sharing, the relationships, as I said, between things of people and each other. And I just want to leave you with one more idea. This is an example of mob movie. It's people that sort of gather. There's an unsustainable element about this. People that gather in their cars and they all watch a movie together. It's done via the internet and it's done via SMSing. And to me, the quote that's underneath sort of may give an insight as to why there seems to be new cultures of sharing emerging. Thank you.